Do you think you need millions of followers to land brand deals? Think again. Elijah Khasabo is living proof that creators can turn content into real income without having a massive audience. While still in college, Elijah bootstrapped his company Vidovo and grew it to serve over 100 brands with a network of thousands of creators. Vidovo is a platform that helps brands connect with influential creators to grow user-generated content. Today, it's on track for a 1 million run rate, and Elijah has seen firsthand what makes brands choose one creator over another. In this episode, we're sharing the secrets for UGC that actually converts, how to land more brand deals, and what brands really care about when they're looking for creators. If you're ready to turn your content into a business, then stick around because Elijah is here to share exactly what's working right now.
If you're able to tell a brand, hey, I had 5 ads that did this, gave the brand X ROAS and X UTR, reduced CPC by 40%. As a brand, why would I not want to at least have a conversation? Right? So use the leverage of your past results to negotiate bigger deals and longer contracts.
Welcome to The Creator's Adventure, where we interview creators from around the world hearing their stories about growing a business. Hey everyone, I'm Brian McAnulty, the founder of Heads Platform. Let's get into it. Hey Elijah, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Excited to be here.
What would you say is the biggest thing that either you did or you are doing that has helped you to achieve the freedom to do what you enjoy?
It's a great question. I would have to say learning how to say no. I think that's one of the hardest things to do as an entrepreneur, because I know in the beginning stages, at least for me, I was accepting every single deal possible, and I think I was put in a position where I had to say yes to everything, projects, partnerships, opportunities, because I was scared to miss out. We needed the social proof. We just needed proof of like having a concept of what we're doing. But what I realized is that it kept me busy, not free. And once I started being a little bit more intentional with what I worked on, things that align more with my long-term vision, I feel like every creator should also have the perspective of this. It, allowed me to buy back my time. And I think time is the most important thing, especially in our industry. So I would have to go like learning how to say no. Gives you a lot more freedom to actually also enjoy life, so you're not constantly scrambling. But that's kind of how I would answer that question right there.
Yeah, that's super important. I think that's something that every creator kind of goes through, especially like you yourself are. It's kind of like a service business.
Yeah.
And I remember I started the same way. I started out as a service business of like graphic and web design.
Yeah.
And I try to take on everything. Like somebody approaches me as some kind of partnership. Okay, yeah, let's do it. And you start to realize that there's a lot of these things that take up your time, and it's not necessarily either what you should be doing as the best thing for your time, what you want to be doing, or even worth doing at all. And so, then you learn how to shift the other way. But yeah, that's definitely a really important thing.
Quick story, I will never forget. I took on a project. I think when I first started when I had an agency, this is prior to Vidovo, and I took on this client project. I was like, I don't think I can do it, but I need the cash right now. Ended up doing it. Had to refund the guy because they just went completely south. Because my creators went ghost, everything was just going missing. He was emailing me at 2 a.m. like, what's going on? So sometimes it saves you from situations like that too, but I don't regret any of it at the time because I learned a lot, right? Now it's like I'm saying no, it's, I have reason to back every time I do. So, it can save you from a lot, I will say.
Yeah, that's true. I think it is like an important process to go through and learn what you maybe should have said no to first.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you don't get stuck too long in that period where you're accepting everything and don't learn how to say no.
Exactly. I agree.
So you founded your business while you were still in college. How did you get the idea for Vidovo? And for those who are listening and not familiar with it, can you briefly describe what it does and how it helps creators?
Yes. So Vidovo is a UGC and influencer platform that connects essentially the brand with a creator or an influencer. Our goal is to build a software to make that obviously easy, right? The approach that actually makes us a lot different than your traditional UGC platform was our actual, because at the end of the day, every platform has the same objective. Like, we want to make sure you get content for your ad creative, your organic social, or your retail media, whatever it is, email. But the one thing I noticed was most of our competitors, they all raised money, right? When you raise money, you obviously have to follow these investor KPIs. And indirectly, well, not indirectly, directly, those investor KPIs always lead back to revenue. And what leads to revenue? Brand acquisition. So we knew like, okay, if we don't have investors, that are, always checking in on us, why don't we take the opposite approach and just focus on how can we, do creator acquisition at a better scale, right? Because now we can focus on getting top tier talent that brands want to work with. So I don't know if you've heard of us, if you're a creator or not, but most of our brands actually find us through other creators, like whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on Twitter, TikTok, because creators are posting about their experience with us. And I think what it's doing to the brand is like, well, if a creator's having a good experience, why can't I, right? So we do things a little bit different, at least about our approach. We get around 100 creators per day organically, so that's been awesome. But yeah, we're just a UGC and influencer platform. So if you're a creator, definitely sign up. But how I got started, it's a funny story. I actually was against UGC at first. I come from the affiliate world. In high school, I had a stock and crypto server, and I grew it to 30,000 people all through affiliate marketing, right? Fast forward to when I was doing e-commerce and I was drop shipping, I was still doing affiliate. I was only paying creators based off what you earned me. And I'll never forget a creator approached me one day, and they're like, "Hey, it's $50." Like, "Hey, perfect, right?" But he's like, "No, but I need the money up front." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to do that." There's a risk for me. I can't do that.
Mm.
He's like, "No, no, no. It's this whole new thing. It's UGC." I don't think he used the term UGC at the time, but I think he used a similar term to it. And I actually started doing more research on it. And I was like, I ended up losing the battle. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's $50. I'll pay for it, which is very hard to get a $50 video nowadays. The video got me 15 million organic views. It was like 14.5, 15-ish million organic. So in my head, I'm like, man, forget dropshipping. I should probably go sell videos to other dropshippers. And that's literally what I did. I became a freelancer, and I would join like all these dropshipping community discords and try to be like that UGC like guy. Like, hey, come get me for your cheap content. I was selling videos anywhere from like $20 to $50 at the time. Then from there, I started an agency, and then through that agency, I ended up starting Vidovo because my co-founder was actually a customer of mine within the agency, and he loved the way that like I was running things, and he was very impressed. And he was like, "Hey, like I can build this tech, I could build a platform, like blah blah blah." And I started to realize like the agency probably wasn't going to be scalable, at least the way I was running it then. I maybe would have figured it out, but I went in with him, and we've been building ever since. We decided to bootstrap. It's definitely been a grind, but yeah, we've learned a lot from it. So it all sparked from me not even wanting it at first, but seeing the importance and then seeing there was a gap. Like brands do need video. Video does work, right? And I just was like, I gotta hop into this, and I fell in love with it ever since. So I've always been in the video world because I knew the importance of it when I ran my Discord, but now it's like, okay, I know the metrics that are tied to it. The organic, whether it's organic, paid, retail, email, SMS, wherever the video is going, I know the metrics are tied back to it now, and I've always loved the importance of it. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Awesome. I love that you mentioned that you're a bootstrap company too, and I know that, but we are here too at Heights Platform, and I think it's really important that that point you mentioned, I think, is actually super valuable.
Yep.
That you looked at, okay, well, these are what all the venture-backed companies are doing.
Yep.
How can we not do that? What can we do that's the thing that they can't do?
Exactly.
And I feel like for myself personally, it took me a little bit too long to realize that. But for the creators out there, like especially like if you're a course creator, a coach, this kind of thing, trying to build a community, don't try to be like some big
Yeah.
venture like funded company. Like lean into the things that you can do that they can't do.
Exactly.
And so like they don't like an easy example of that is like as a creator, like we're talking about the UGC, the brands want the UGC because they don't have that personal brand and that presence.
Correct.
And so you have that. So lean into that. Don't try to pretend that you're some big company with thousands of people. A lot of your value comes from being able to connect to your audience directly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so for that. And it's like, it was a battle though, because we obviously you don't make money acquiring creators and creators only. It's a very long term play. It was a risk because we haven't seen any other platforms do it. But I knew at the end of the day, when I just like when I got into UGC, if the content is gonna be good, if it's gonna have a higher chance of performing, I'm gonna want to stay. I'm gonna want to keep on doing it. And I think it's gone to shown on Vidovo, like especially this year, that our retention is just so much higher now because brands are finding quality creators, right? If we did the brand acquisition play, obviously you get the brands and you have to go hunt for creators, right? You're not really caring about quality at that point. You're just caring about
Yeah.
getting the actual creator on the platform. Whereas us, it's like they're already there. So I'm just telling the brand like, hey, here's why I think we're a better software, and here's why our approach is better. And brands hear that and they're like, I love this. Like that's been the biggest reason to our high close rates, just literally our approach. Like, cause like I said, we all have the same objective, but it's like, what was your approach? And I think we had one of the best ones. So that kind of helped us ease out of there. And bootstrapping, it's not a fun, it's not fun, but you learn a lot from it. You definitely learn a lot. I said this in interview the other day. It's developed me into a different character. I've had to learn a lot. I've had to grow up fast, but I don't regret it one bit, and I am very thankful that I chose the bootstrapping route.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, me as well. Wouldn't do it any other way.
Yeah.
So we heard that you said that most creators don't realize how close they are to turning content into a business.
Yep.
What would you say is like the tipping point that moves from someone from like the casual UGC work to consistent full-time income?
That's a great question, and I don't meet with newer creators as much as I used to. I wish I did, but my time is so limited to what it used to be. But I'll never forget the number one thing I used to always tell creators is just focus on relationship building. My first client ever in UGC, when I was freelancing to the agency, I sold him a video for $15. He's been with us since then. He came from the freelancing stages to the agency stages, and he's now on Vidovo. And I've seen him spend north of $500 a video, right? And it's just all because of relationship. Like, obviously at that time he didn't have the budget. Now he does. He's grown, and the UGC has worked for him. And I think if most creators can focus on how can I develop a relationship with client A, with client B, with client C, more than like the money aspect of it, it will come, right? Because I could have charged that client. What if I quote him $50 or $100 at the time, which is very cheap now, but at that time, maybe he would have said no and ran off. Like, I was just so focused on just getting clients. And you could also make the argument that I was saying yes to everything, right? Would I say yes to that now? Probably not, right? So that's kind of my approach on it. I think is focus on relationship building, and I think it'll take you far. And if you can, settle down and be okay, client A, client B, client C, how can I turn that individual into a recurring customer for me? I mean, it's a huge thing. Our top creators, all of them have relationships with all these brands. Even on our platform, we built it indirectly to develop relationships with the brands, because we allow you to message the brand before any transaction is actually done, right? Because we know this, the creator economy is so transactional. How can we put a balance? It's not going to be 50-50, but how can we put how can we throw a relationship into that mix of transactional, right? So my biggest advice from 0 to 10,000, 10,000 to 100,000, I feel like it's all relationships. It's all a game of connections. And I feel like the more you focus on that, the easier it is for you to achieve the next levels. I could obviously go more in depth and break down everything you need to do, but I truly think relationships is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And these
No,
help build experience, diversify income, and they keep content fresh, and then you can obviously just keep building from there.
yeah, no, I love that. I think that a lot of creators starting out, like in whatever way they're starting out, they get hung up on pricing, and this is one of the ways that they get hung up on pricing, that they're thinking too like short term.
Correct.
They're thinking, oh, how can I make this cheap product? And it's difficult to make a cheap product. There's so much we could talk about with this, but in a sense, basically, if you look at the big brands out there, like a soda company or a clothing company, they're selling things that are relatively affordable. They're not selling $1,000 product or something, but the actual lifetime value of their customers is still massive. Because like soda, yeah, it's like a couple dollars, but people keep buying it over and over and over for years.
Yeah.
And so you have to think of your potential customers not as like, okay, what is the one thing I'm going to sell them now, but what is that relationship over the long term? Because I've had the same experiences and stories where like there's this client from way back, and then they're just actually still with me. I have a story that when we were a web design business,
Yeah.
we did like print design too. And we decided to do this one contest one day to do, we'll give like free business card printing to somebody. And this was in like 2010, I think. The guy who won that free printing, a few years later, we built a printing like e-commerce brand. The guy who won that not only would continue printing with us a few years later, but I think he still does today. Like all these years later, like
awesome.
15 years later,
Yeah.
He's still with us. And so that was another example, because you mentioned like starting out with a really like affordable video And like that was something where we actually gave him the thing for free, even we didn't even charge. But now
Yeah,
he's a customer for 15 years later.
that's awesome.
And yeah, so keeping that in mind, and I love the idea of trying to build that into the platform to kind of help creators along with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say a creator want to go from like landing their first brand deal to like the point where this is like potentially a six-figure income for them.
Yeah.
What would be like the steps that you would kind of map out for them?
Step one, obviously, your foundation. What is your niche? What platforms are you native to? Are you also an influencer? Are you just focused on UGC? Having a strong portfolio, even if you don't have brand deals, like go around and just create content with remote, like just like just create content with products inside your home, and just build some type of starter profile from there. Because I will say the number one thing, and I just spoke with this my social team about an hour ago. We have over 10,000 creators, and the creators who don't see a lot of deals are the ones who just don't have complete profiles and video examples. I mean, if I'm a
Mm,
brand and I'm reviewing you and I can't see, at least, decently quality videos on your profile, or a complete profile that looks like you know what you're doing, at least have interest in what you're doing, I'm probably not going to want to work with you. So laying out your foundation is probably the first step I would put, which kind of lays into social proof or creator proof, I guess, which is just getting those small brand deals. Kind of like how I was working with that guy for $20, right? Just developing relationships. Kind of spins back to what we were saying earlier. Just develop relationships, which I would tie into social proof there, and just having a system. I think, if I was a creator, I feel like I would know exactly what to do, but I'm not. But it's like building out your own system. Like, okay, how are you gonna get brands? How are you gonna acquire brands? Have a Twitter page. A lot of my top creators on Vidovo, I found them through Twitter. I also
mm,
found a lot of them through Facebook. Why? Because they were posting. Why? Their bio was also SEO friendly. So like, get these key metrics and tie it into your profile, which is from step one, having a foundation, having everything set up. Because there's a lot of brands just scrolling through Twitter, scrolling through Facebook, even TikTok, and just searching for creators like you. So it's like if you are SEO friendly, if you're approachable, if you're easy to find, if you're easy to contact, that's a great way to kind of help land your first brand deal. Right, and I like I said, I think Twitter is super super underrated, and then leveraging that, so using the past results now from those first 3 to 5 brands and 10 brands and 15 brands, and leveraging that into newer brand deals. There's creators, like I said, I used to pay $100 a video that we're now paying north of like $300-400 a UGC video, right? And you have influencers who you pay a couple hundred, you're paying north of $1,000, right? So it's like they're just because they leverage their own deals, they leverage the performance of what happened. So yeah, laying back to that, make sure you can get analytics from the content that you've given to the brands. Because if you're able to tell a brand like, well, hey, I had 5 ads that did this and gave the brand X ROAS and X CTR and reduced CPC by 40%. Why, as a brand, why would I not want to at least have a conversation with you, right? So use the leverage of your past results to negotiate bigger deals and longer contracts, and pitch bundles too, like content, pitch whitelisting. I think whitelisting is going to be a huge thing over the next year and a half. It's starting to pick up, at least we've seen the last 3 to 4 months, where brands want to run the ad through the creator's account. Doesn't matter what your following is, it just seems more real. Like people would rather see a sponsored ad from an influencer or creator than from the brand account, right? At least from
yep.
what I know, as of right now, it's performing better. So be open to more. And then from that, I think you're just scaling. I don't know if I have another step at that, but just scale, lock in X amount of retainer partnerships, so maybe 2 to 3, 4 to 5 ish. Those retainer partnerships can pay anywhere from 2 to 5 grand per month. I notice a lot of our top creators have retainer deals with their partners, and they're just creating content on a consistent basis. And I feel like as a creator, you can kind of calendar that out. So it's like, okay, cool. I know I have to create X amount of content for X amount of brands on X amount of days within a month. Now I know for the other days I can go get those deals or that deals or search for that deal or get some more inbound, right? So definitely lock in retainer partnerships and raise your one-off projects to kind of amplify the not amplify the chances, but increase the chances of people wanting to hop on your retainer plan, right? And sometimes like I said, it comes back to relationships. Sometimes you don't even have to raise your one-off prices. If you're like, hey, I see potential with this brand, and I know I can get them on a retainer if I get them like 1 or 2 good videos. just give them a discount, right? Sometimes you have to take risk as a creator. I feel like most creators don't take risks. I feel like the really good ones know when to and know when not to. So like understand your ICP, understand who you're talking to, like kind of lock that all into scale. After that, I'd probably say diversify. As a creator, you don't want to just be doing UGC. That's just my opinion. If I was a creator, I'd be focusing on a lot of performance models, so getting into affiliate, or maybe even lowering your UGC rate and doing a performance bonus. So if ad performs, I get X percent or I get X bonus, right? A lot of good creators are doing that, where they're lowering the rates by maybe 30 to 50%, asking for at least $1,000 bonus if it performs. Because if a brand makes $100,000 off that video, $10,000 off that video, I mean, I think they'd be more than inclined to give you $1,000 and want to keep on working with you. So put in those bonuses for yourself. Make sure it's in contract, obviously. So affiliate's good. If you're really good at creating content, maybe a workshop with creators, get more involved with platforms that you use a lot and try to get like webinars done with them. Get your name out there. Digital products is also a lot of things I'm seeing, and then keep on getting more retainer brands. But that's how I'd say you could scale to 100K. I don't know many UGC specifically creators doing 100K a month, but I know a lot of creators doing 100K a month, where they are doing UGC, they're doing influencer, they're doing affiliate, they're doing TikTok shop. So that goes back to step 5 or 6. I don't know where I was at for diversifying, right? I know it's a little messy, but that's just kind of going off the top of my head.
No,
But
super helpful. I think the point about like the long term and the retainers is really good,
yeah,
because like from the brand perspective, like we mostly do affiliates and stuff. We don't spend too much really on like paying creators or paying for ads or things.
yeah,
Being a bootstrap company, but the times when like we've pitched somebody and said like, hey, do you want to be an affiliate with us or something, and they just come back and say, oh, I'll just charge you, like, just this is how much I'm going to charge for a video. We don't like to hear that, because a lot of the times like we found the affiliates will like really invest long term and will continue to work with us, will understand the product, explain it. That can be true for UGC content and
yes,
for charging a brand, but you have to like demonstrate that you care about it. Because if the brand sees like, oh, you're just going to charge this one off thing, versus you show them like, hey, I want to work with you for 3 months or 6 months or whatever, but like here's how it's going to work, then they have this confidence that, okay, you're actually going to understand our product and explain it well to the users, versus somebody who just doesn't care and just makes one video and they're kind of over it.
yeah,
And yeah, I think that can help you as a creator as well when
yeah,
you do it that way. Real quick, Brian here. You know me as the host for this podcast, but what you might not know is I'm also the founder of Heights Platform. It's an all-in-one platform that over 10,000 creators have used to build their online courses, communities, and digital product businesses. We recently added some awesome updates to Heights AI to help you turn your idea into a viable business. Heights AI can build entire product offers, review your content, and even coach you on how to grow. You can try it for free for 30 days. Links in the description. Now, back to the podcast. Yeah, you mentioned a little bit already about like how a creator can stand out kind of from like making sure to complete the profile, things like that. So first, I think creators get hung up on like follower count. Like what's actually important, or what do brands actually care about when it comes to number of followers? Like, is there an amount that's actually too little or not? And maybe second, is there something that like brands care about that creators kind of seem to always miss, that if they didn't miss, it could help them stand out?
yeah. So for the follower count, that's a tough question because it depends on what lens are you looking at it. If I'm a brand, I'm personally looking to work with an influencer for their following. I mean, I I don't really judge off a follower count. I actually judge off of community. And what I mean by that is I will go on your page, I'll read through your comments, I'll check your engagement, I'll look up your name and see if other people are talking about you. Like, what type of community do you have around you? Right? And if it looks like it's pretty engaging, I don't care if you have 3,000 or 300,000, I will be more inclined to want to work with you. Right? Like, there are creators out there who have 10,000 followers will probably convert a lot better than creators who have 70,000 followers. Right? So I go based off community. If you're looking from a numbers perspective, obviously you probably would want to shoot over 5,000 followers just in general. I think this is a good judgment. I would say 3,000 is probably the bare minimum I would shoot for like any type of deal. Because there's at least a sign of, okay, that's an engaged audience, or at least at the bare minimum. But like I said, I don't really go off of followers when it comes to the influencer stuff. I just go off of community, right? I've worked with creators who have 50,000 followers who produce zero sales. I've also worked with creators who produce, you know, tons of sales with 10,000 followers. So it all comes down to how engaged is your community. Do your followers actually care about you? What are they saying in the comments? Is it just random gibberish, or is it actually them asking questions or wanting to learn more about you, or just being so engaged into the video, or saying I love this or I love that? The little things like that I think are far more important than the actual numbers, at least from what I'm seeing today. And that's just my personal opinion, but I think if every brand looked at it like that, I mean, I feel like we'd see a lot more results on that end.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. And how about the point of how about the part of is there like something that creators maybe miss that could actually help them stand out that brands are looking for?
I kind of think it goes back to the profile thing. And I was ranting about this earlier today, so that's probably what's in my head. Is I feel like creators just I feel like they have to look at stuff from the brand's perspective. I don't know why they always just look at it from their perspective. I think the number one thing in life, this is business or non-business related, just be open to both sides. Be open
Mm.
to why does a person think like that? What can I learn from that person? What can I take away from that? I think the more open minded you are and the more curious you allow yourself to be, the better position you will be in, because you'll be able to identify, okay, if brand A is looking for content like that, that, and that, and they've worked with creators like that, that, and that, why don't I tailor myself to be more like that individual that they're looking for, right? Or at least resonate a little bit more. I feel like most creators get very stuck up on them and themselves, and that's it, and they just don't really want to go beyond that. But I think if more creators looked at it from a different perspective, look through the brand's lens, I feel like it'll put you in a lot better position than kind of not. And you'd be surprised. A lot of creators do this. I'm sure you know this too, right? It's just be open minded, right? So just be open to all things. But that's probably the best way I would answer that. And to spin back to the profile thing, just having a complete profile, being SEO friendly, I feel like that just gets you a lot more brand deals. And I stand on this. I'll stand to this day. I'm always going through Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I'm just saving a bunch of videos in my free time, and I put them into this folder of like, okay, creators I'd want to reach out to if X happened, right?
Mm.
And a lot of creators I feel like miss out on opportunities like that because they just don't have a complete profile set up or they're not SEO friendly. But yeah, that's kind of what I would say. Just be easy. I think that's the that kind of bundles up both points into one.
Yeah. So you've built Vidovo to like bridge this creators and brands together here.
Yeah.
How do you see the UGC space kind of evolving over the next 2 years? And what should creators potentially start doing now to prepare?
Great question. I think it's so funny because when I first got into the industry, the type of content I used to produce then versus now is so different. I feel like the industry we're in is just it's so fast paced. It's always moving, and there's always new things just hitting us left and right. Which is why I make the argument. I'll never forget my first conference ever. This was last year. I think it was a social media director in her 30s or 40s, and everyone in the audience was around that age. She said that she truly believes that the creator economy is built for Gen Z. Like this is their industry to learn and grow in and understand at a high pace level, right? Fast pace level. And I truly believe that. So it's like so I'm always adapting. Like content that we're producing now for our agency, for our managed clients versus our self service clients, it's a lot different than the content we were producing 6 months ago, right? Now we're seeing a lot more retail content where they want the creator to actually go into the store. We're seeing a
Mm.
lot more whitelisting. I didn't see that 6 to 8 months ago, right? So it's always just changing. A year ago, the content was very traditional UGC ad style. Now we're seeing brands that they just want testimonial style. They just want podcast style. They just want green screens again, right? That might be different next year. So it's always evolving. But one thing I will say, creators should learn how to use AI as an amplifier. I'm not for AI UGC, obviously, right? But I do think if you can learn to use AI as a tool to amplify your needs, to amplify your business, to work faster, I feel like you'll be ahead of a lot of creators over the next 1 to 2 years.
Mm.
So that's kind of the biggest thing I would say that people can learn from, and just be ready to adapt because things are always changing. be active on social. Always be watching other creators too, other influencers. Watch what brands are doing, and I think it'll put you in a really good position.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds great. I'm also against UGC AI content,
Yeah,
but I also truly believe AI, like leveraging it right, can make such a massive difference.
correct.
And I've got like on one hand, I think people thought, oh, AI is going to come, it's going to make everything easier, we're all going to relax. On the other hand, I feel like more pressure because it's like there could be more that I'm doing with it. I could be utilizing it more, and so I feel like I've got to
Yeah,
figure that out and see how I could be doing it. And the thing that I love, or the way I love to like frame it, is like a few years ago, everyone's talking about, oh, you should get a VA to help you scale and everything. And AI can be so much more powerful than that because once you have like one process,
yeah,
like with AI helping you, it's not like, okay, as we scale, now I've got to hire another person to expand that. No, the AI just does more. It just
yeah.
keeps doing more.
They'll use it as
And
leverage. Yeah.
so exactly. So it's really powerful in that sense. I'm curious your thoughts about like if AI is a threat or not to UGC content and brand partnerships in the future, and like how creators should see themselves, or should they worry? Like how's this going to play out? Do you feel like in the next year or so?
Um, if creators aren't evolving, it could be a threat. But then again, I'm obviously making the argument in favor of the creators where I think we will continue to evolve, right? And by threat, I mean more to the basic needs of content. Like we need this type of B-roll footage or that type of B-roll footage. AI might be at a point a year or two from now, maybe even sooner, that it could do that fairly easy, right? But I do believe it's an ally as of right now. I just don't think brands still need real human trust and reliability. Oh, relatability, sorry, not reliability. And I don't think AI can do that at scale. I just don't. Like I said, AI continues to shock me every single day, but I just don't see a world that can do that at scale. And just as I pointed out to you, I feel like the winning creators will be able to use AI as leverage, not as a competition factor. Whether
Yep.
that's scripting faster, editing faster, brainstorming hooks, scaling content production, all these things that can allow you to just work faster, more efficiently. I feel like AI will play, a huge role in, but I just don't think it can replace a creator. I mean, if anything, AI UGC popping up this year made UGC more popular, right?
Mm.
Because people saw the results and it wasn't doing well. Even there's a lot of VO3 ads, which I love, by the way. I love like this whole concept of creation, but they don't really convert. Like people know it's AI, right? Do we get to a point where AI content looks so real that it doesn't look like AI? Maybe, right? And then maybe we'll get into a whole legal and regulations things at that time. Maybe people are like lying about it, say this wasn't generated by AI, right? Like I don't really know, but one thing I will say is that you can't beat real human. You just can't. I will never make a purchase decision, at least as of right now. I don't think I would make a purchase decision based off an AI ad. I honestly think it might end up hurting brands more than
Yeah.
helping them. There has to
Yeah.
be some.
If the brand makes this AI UGC and they're trying to trick people into thinking that it's
Yes,
like real
correct. If
testimonials,
there's bad ethics behind it,
yeah,
it's a different
yeah,
story.
that's no good. But yeah, the reason that the brands want to pay for the UGC in the first place is not just to show that there's a person talking about it, but it is because of what you said, your audience and that engaged audience
Yes,
that they're following you. They care about what you have to say.
correct. And like I said, people trust people. People resonate with others, and it's kind of like when I was pitching UGC in the beginning. You know, we have a lot of mom creators on our platform, and I say this all the time. But a brand would, a mom would rather see another mom on their TikTok or on their Facebook than a Kim Kardashian, right? So I already had to deal with the UGC versus celebrity stuff. Now it's like UGC versus AI, right?
Mm.
But now I'm not really having a lot of conversations about UGC versus AI because I think people kind of caught on like this isn't, it's not ready yet. But then again, people just want to see other people that look like them, and I don't think a lot of us look like AI. So I don't plan for that to work out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got one more question for you, and that is that on the show, I'd like to have every guest ask a question to our audience. So if you could ask our audience anything, whether something you're curious about or kind of want to just get people thinking about, what would that be?
This is a tough one. But one of my favorite questions when in this industry is like, when you see content, what makes you stop scrolling? I think as a creator, the more you think about that, the better you'll be a lot better psychologically when it comes to creating content and briefs and having some strategy behind it. Just think about like when you see content, what makes you stop scrolling, right? Because we're all consumers at the end of the day. A majority of us scroll every single day, right? And I feel like a lot of us forget about that. Like once our day is over, all right, let's go on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, Shorts, whatever it is, or maybe it's long form, YouTube. But what makes you engaged? And I think the more you can think about that, it'll make you pretty unstoppable. I think I'm a little biased, but I think it will. But that's my question.
Right, awesome. And Elijah, thanks so much for coming on the show. Before we get going, where else can people find you online?
Yeah, I'm a LinkedIn guy, so you can find me there, Elijah Khasabo. I am also on Twitter, very briefly, but not that well. And you can also find me on Instagram. I just booted it up, or I'm gonna start booting it up. At Elijah Khasabo. But yeah, mainly LinkedIn. That's where you can find me.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much. I'd like to take a moment to invite you to join our free community of over 5,000 creators at creatorclimb.com. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, check out the Heights Platform YouTube channel every Tuesday at 9 a.m. US Central. To get notified when new episodes release, join our newsletter at thecreatorsadventure.com. Until then, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode.